All right, in a recent workout actually, I hit like 315 pounds on the bench press for 3 reps at a body weight of about 173 pounds. Okay, tell me what you're going. Oh shit. Yeah. I haven't done much flat benching, In the last 1 or 2 years, I've done very little, mostly incline. In the past few weeks, I've done a little bit as a secondary exercise. So the other day I did flat bench as my first lift of the day, and I said, hey, you know what? Let's go for 315. Now, I haven't gone nearly that heavy in a long time, but I knew I could do a few reps because I have been hitting like 275 for 8 reps or so, or 6 reps. So I hit 315 for 3 reps, and I feel like I could have maybe got a 4th, but this brings up the subject of this video. I want to really give you some tips so you can consistently hit these personal records in the gym, where you go into the gym and you smash personal records. When I was working out with Sterling Knight last week in LA, what I noticed is some people, they have good workouts and bad workouts, and it's just everything changes. They got the good days, the bad days, the good days, the bad days. And for me, I've been training for 10 years, and every day is pretty consistent. Like, there's no ups and downs. Like 95% of the time, like 19 out of 20 workouts, shit is just where it is. Sometimes if you've had 3 days of bad sleeping, or just some stuff, crazy stuff's going on, or maybe you had on a rest day I didn't rest enough and I was like doing way too much like explosive activity, like jumping around playing basketball with my friends, whatever, then maybe the next day I'll be a bit weaker. But most of the time, the strength is on point. And it comes down to knowing how hard to push it and how hard not to push it. And I feel like I may have contradicted myself, which is really why I want to make this video, because in some videos I'm like, you gotta go fucking hard. You gotta go push it beyond the point of what you think you're capable of. But then I also say, well, you gotta stop before failure. You can't be grinding out those reps and like failing. So it's this really, really weird paradox that you have to fucking nail if you want to get stronger than ever before. In fact, I talk about strength gains for building muscle, and the reality is some people are like, well, what about like volume and strength isn't that important. You can build strength and not get bigger. And of course, having optimal volume is important. And in my courses, I nail that optimal volume without going too high. But the reality is that strength is muscle growth. As long as you're past those beginner stages, and the research is clear on this, in advanced lifters, about 86% of muscle growth can be tied back to strength gains. Somewhere around there. In beginners, you can gain strength just because you're new to this exercise. You're new to lifting, so your body isn't actually building muscle in the beginning. More than that, your body is becoming more efficient firing those muscle fibers, developing more neuromuscular coordination. But when you've been training for a while, your body actually has pretty much, your neuromuscular coordination is very, very high, and the ability to improve that firing is lessened. And in order to make strength gains, you have to get stronger. So it always comes back to this idea of getting stronger. That's how you build muscle as a natural. That's what's going to give you the results you want. You want to have a bigger chest, build your bench press up in that that 4 to 10 rep range predominantly. But damn it, it's so important to be able to nail that balance. And so what I mean when I say push hard, it means putting your brain in a place where you can just kill it in the gym. A lot of times people, they hit failure, but it's not failure. So in actuality, they think, 5 reps is tough, but they're not really turning it on. They're not coming to the gym like fucking beasts and just boom and owning that shit. They just they're kind of half in it. And so they fail when they're half in it, but it's not true failure. When you hit the gym, you have to be able to just connect with all that power you have inside you. And this sounds very, metaphysical and all that, but I mean, go back to the vlog where I was doing some dunking. My first few jumps were shit. And then within like 15, 20 minutes, I was going like 4 or 5 inches higher. And it's because you start to get your body going. And you start to be able to turn on, that your central nervous system in a way. And so I see people going to the gym and they kind of they're like doing curls or whatever. They're like, it's tough, but they're not really in it. So you have to, when you go in the set, you have to be able to turn on your muscles. You have to be able to fire yourself, get yourself fired up. And then from there, you want to get to the point where you finish that last rep strong. You want to be able to finish that last rep strong. So, you know, when I'm working out with some of the guys who follow my courses, I'll go in the gym and, you know, they get so tied to getting these personal records, and I watch their last 2 or 3 reps on chin-ups, and a lot of times they're like, and I'm like, that was a shit rep, and they come back down, they go for it again. I'm like, what are you doing? You're not making gains when your last few reps aren't complete at all, and you're just grinding it out and you're weak, and the next workout they'll probably be even weaker. And that's what causes people to have the good workouts and the bad workouts, is they push it way too hard, their body's not able to recover, they're creating way too much central nervous system stress. You want to finish that last rep strong. If you look at that bench press where I did 315, or even some of my workout vlogs, you know, most of my last reps I complete pretty well without too much grinding. And then maybe if I'm really trying to hit that PR, I might like lock it up, but it might be a bit of a struggle. But like, that's the max I go. And it's really important to nail that. And what I like to recommend on my courses when you're doing this reverse pyramid training, it's okay to push that first set really hard, but the second and third, you don't want to go too hard. You want to kind of leave a rep in the tank. So if you're like, when you're like fucking fully going, you can do maybe like 10 reps, don't go more than 9, 8 or 9. Just you know, just keep a little bit in the tank, and that will allow you to go stronger and heavier and make those consistent gains the next workout, and you'll always have that consistent level of strength where you don't have these good, awesome workouts and these shit workouts. It's level, and from there, when you have that levelness, you can consistently make personal records. But if you have good workouts and bad workouts, it's really hard to make those consistent personal records and follow that loading scheme, because it's like, well, it's a shit workout, so I can't make the gain, or it's an awesome workout, so now I'm only going up by this much when I could do this much. And so you have to be able to balance that. Go in the gym, be powerful and strong and powerful. It's a joke. And turn that shit on, but finish strong, finish strong, finish strong. I cannot stress this enough. When you start doing this, when you start nailing this ability to turn your muscles on, you know, really fire them, you know, engage them fully, you know, lifting is a way for you to, you know, to really bring everything into the picture, you know. I kind of think that lifting isn't that hard. I mean, if you ever run like, you know, just killed yourself trying to run like 1 or 2 miles as fast as possible, that's brutal. If you can push yourself hard on that, like when I was a kid in grade 9, I did the 1500 meter, and you know, I trained for a little bit, but I hit like a 4:51, 4 minutes 51 seconds, and that was agony. This lifting stuff's fun, but in that, when you're lifting, you still have to be able to fire that shit, man. Just fire that shit and finish strong. Now, obviously, I've said the same thing for the last while, so that's it. That's all it comes down to. And for some people, that might mean going to the gym and taking 10 pounds off your lifts. Taking 10 pounds off your lifts, so for the next 2 or 3 workouts, they might feel a bit easy, but then you're able to nail that perfection, and then you can go a bit stronger, a bit stronger, a bit stronger. Once you start really grinding that shit out and like it gets stuck and, you know, hitting you too hard, you're going too heavy. And then in that case, you either drop it 10 pounds so it feels easy again, or one of my favorite things to do is I mix up my workout routine, where if I'm usually starting with maybe incline barbell bench press, then maybe I'll go to dumbbells, or maybe I'll do flat bench and something else. And so like switching up every 6 weeks or so, really, really helpful. So I got up to 275 for 5 on incline barbell, and I could have kept going for it, but I felt like I needed something new because it was going to get too taxing. So then I've been doing incline dumbbell, and now I'm actually going to play around with my barbell flat bench. I started at 3 reps, so I'm going to try and get that up to about 315 for about 5 or 6, and then I might try and do some micro loading and get it to like, I don't know, 325 for 5. We'll see. Fun stuff. You know, everyone wants me to bulk these days. Everyone wants me to bulk, so I might get myself up to about 180 pounds this winter, you know, and get my flat bench crazy strong. But that's pretty much what I want to talk about in this video. So really, really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to join one of my programs, start building that Kinobody physique and getting in incredible shape, then use my free physique builder tool. And I will talk to you soon. Peace.
Double jab underneath. Good. Then we worked on the power jab. Yeah. Right? So it was just from here throwing that. Yeah, there it is. Yes. Now try less telling. So right now instead of you're loading it, but you're kind of right? So just from relaxed. There you go. One more time. Good. Right?